afternoon. Welcome to my channel. My name is Ezreal the Scribe, where I cover topics that I'm very passionate about. Mysticism, spirituality, philosophy, history, and things about life, and topics on wellness, and topics of positive health and success and goals and all in between. And today I'm talking about the fourth part of the series of Tools of the Occult, where I'll be discussing tools on the left-hand path and how they can be used, and what are some methods of variation between right-hand path and left-hand path, as well as some of the taboos from it. So if you are interested, stay tuned. Welcome back. Okay, so today's topic again is on the left-hand path tools. And when I talk about the left-hand path, I'm talking about just that. Talking about, if you've seen my other videos on the left-hand path, I describe the left-hand path as more so following a path of self-individuation. Some people, like Michael Ford, call it apotheosis, where self-deification. And then some people like me follow it as shadow work to become a better human. And so with that said, left-hand path is often overcoming, it's a path of overcoming. And a lot of the term left-hand and right-hand path comes from the Eastern belief systems, like there's the left-hand path of Tantra, right-hand path of Tantra, where through left-hand path it's much faster because you're overcoming your fears, you're overcoming things that hinder you from becoming a better person or your best potential. And I think, in society we all strive for our greatest potential, but this is a spiritual system based on becoming your highest self, your best self, and manifesting it in this world. And so the tools that you use to do this are different than the right-hand path, where you are looking outside of yourself to have, a god or a deity do stuff for you, like praying to God to make things happen, or praying to another goddess, god, deity, whoever you pray to, outside of yourself for guidance. And where minds kind of blend in that is, even in the left-hand path, we do seek from these currents of energy, these they are archetypes and they're deities that the belief is that the whole universe is within you, and when we look through our eyes outward, we are seeing the inner universe in our world. And so the idea, because of that, is that those currents of energies of the divine, the God is within you as well as outside of you, because you're projecting what's within you out. And so to dive deeper into it, to awaken those different currents in the field, that's where this work comes in. And some people are like, what do you mean awaken currents? Well, or awaken these divine energies within us. Well, if the entire universe is within you, but you are asleep to half of it, then you do not, a big part of you is asleep. And so that's where, like, Carl Jung's psychology of the shadow self, the conscious self, and then the unconscious, the shadow. And so half of us is the shadow. It's in the unconscious that we don't realize what's happening. Why would we do the things we do? Why I have a vice for vanilla Coke. I don't know what they put in it, but my God, it's like crack. So, but I don't do crack, but I vanilla Coke. It's like it, It's But back to what I'm trying to say is that these hidden energies and emotions and desires and everything that's within us is in our unconscious. And so the only way to pull up the roots of why we do what we do, to not have fears, not have things hold us back from following our dreams and goals. We have to go within, and it's very shamanistic in a way. But how the left-hand path is it will invoke the because it's projecting those energies outside of us. It's invoking those energies within us. So, and often it's done through a tool such as a sigil. And a sigil is usually a like lines, or it can be a name broken up into a design, something that represents that deity or current of energy. Runes can be considered a sigil. If you've seen like the Elder Futhark, the runics. This is a sigil I received in a meditation, I want to say about a month ago now, and I painted it. And basically it represents the trident, which represents heaven, earth, or the underworld, the earth, and the sky. And then the torch of consciousness, the torch of unconsciousness, as well as the Lucifer's torch and Hecate's torch, because Lucifer is the bringer of light, he's the bringer of knowledge, he's the bringer of the ascending flame is what they call it, but it's more so an awakening of consciousness. And so that's the one torch. And then Hecate, she brings you home when you're lost in your own darkness. She carries the torch through the underworld to guide those that are lost home. And so she brings clarity when it is needed. And then the moons represents the moon cycle. You've got the new moon, which if you were to work with the lunar energy, the new moon is a beginning. So you would start something on the new moon, and then the crescent, you would again continue to nurture that all the way until you get to the full moon. And then the full moon is completion of that work. So if I do a rite or working with a type of energy, usually I'll start on the new moon, and the rite will be done on the full moon. And I do that to give myself time to integrate the work that I did on the new moon. It kind of balances out, and I'm using that lunar energy that's already there for that purpose. And so that's using the lunar energies is both right-hand path and left-hand path, because it doesn't it's defining the planetary fields. So that's how sigils can be used. And another tool to activate the sigils is a lancet. And a lancet is like, often you can find it in the diabetic section of a Walgreens, or you can order them on Amazon if you don't want to go to the store. Not promoting Amazon or Walgreens, but I'm just saying they have them. And you basically, to activate a sigil is using your blood on the sigil. And this is where a lot of people get fearful and they're like taboo. They're like, whoa, what do you mean you're putting your blood on this sigil to invoke an energy? And so the blood is connection to your body. And so when you use a lancet, you're only getting a tiny bit of blood, and you're just putting it on the sigil to activate it. And then, that's the start of a rite. And then you would say the words to invoke those currents into your being, and to help guide you on what you need to learn about yourself, and to awaken those hidden aspects to understand why the hell I do the things I do. So these are very powerful because it works. It's been used for centuries. There's sigil magic all the way back to, I love history, but I'm not like academic as far as I indulge in history. I go to I try to go to all historical places, but I'm not going to start quoting. Maybe one day, very soon, maybe I'll start quoting, but all the creators of the grimoires, the Ars Goetia or Solomon's magic. Solomon used sigils at least the story behind Solomon using a ring that had sigils on it to control forces to help build the temple. So it goes all the way back, and that's pretty biblical and historical, depending on who you are. But other traditions in the left-hand path, like Thelema, Enochian, they have used sigils and their practices. So it's a common thing, and the blood does connect to you. And so when you do that, you're connecting to that energy, and it's something that's already within you. It's just usually dormant or asleep, and that is part of the left-hand path belief, is that it's there already. It just needs to be woken up and to be whole, because as one very wise and historical man said, the kingdom of heaven is within you. And if the kingdom of heaven is within you, then all the realms are within you, because all of creation is made by heaven and source. So, with that said, that is why the lancet and the sigil is important on left-hand path. It's very taboo, because, and then you always want to have alcohol wipes, or very safety first. Once you use a lancet, you can always do an alcohol wipe, wrap a band-aid, do what you got to do for safety. But that is one of the tools. Now, another tool that's used in the left-hand path, which is also in the right-hand path, is the athame. And athame is a dirk, dagger, knife. And again, it's pretty much the same principles behind drawing the sigils in the air, or you can also direct your energy through the athame, and that's the same with the wand, staff. So it all correlates in the left-hand path workings as well, because it comes down to intention of what that energy you're putting out is going to do. For example, the other night I did a blessing of a ring, a necklace, and a bracelet. And a blessing and consecration and an imbuing of a type of energy into those items. And so what I did is I started off with the sigils and invoked the currents of energy, and then using the mudra of creation, which is a very powerful one, and taking the energy that I took in and blessed and pushed it out of my body into those items, and for a purpose, to one, bless it in honor of that energy, in honor of a deity or a current of energy. If I wanted to bless the ring for protection, I would, draw with the athame the rune, I believe it's Wonjo, and let me know if I'm wrong about that, but Wonjo, and you would put that over the ring and say it like 9 times while you're, putting your energy into that ring for protection, and that's the way to imbue it. And so things like that are important, why the athame is used, and it's very common in pretty much all spiritual practices, except for, like, I don't often see it in Christianity or Islam or Judaism, but far as the occult practices, which are often the hidden shadow self practices, or Wicca, witchcraft, or shamanism, because you still use the athame for gathering herbs and stuff like that. So it's a multi-tool. Okay, so aside from that, another tool that's widely used, and maybe not, it is widely used in the left-hand path, is the black mirror. And some people will invest their money and get like an obsidian mirror. You can see them in stores. They're big and round like a disc. And what is the black mirror? So a black mirror is, often people say when you look in a mirror, you see your physical self, your form. Well, the black mirror is used to see the spirit, to go deep within, through the image of the mirror. And often how it works is, or used, is you'll have your table before you, or altar table, and then you'll place the black mirror in the front, and then place 2 candles behind it. And so you want the light to reflect enough behind it to where you can have some light to see, but you can't see anything like in front of the mirror. Like there's no reflection from the mirror. It's like a pool of black nothing. So by then reflecting into the mirror, one, you're projecting your thoughts and your spirit onto the mirror. And some groups, especially one I've worked with, will evoke deities. And evocation is not bringing the current of energy within you, it's bringing the deity or current of energy into your space. And by doing that and having that black mirror there, the energy can take form in the mirror. And I know it sounds very horror film and scary, but it's one way to connect to an energy and to learn from it. And I've had some quitty what is the word, quitty? I've had quite a few deep meditations, visions through this black mirror, and it was a inner reflection coming out, and it was teaching me, it was guiding me, and it's very powerful work. So it's used quite often, and I don't have mine out to show you because I keep mine in the dark at all times, because I don't want the lights to... It's just a personal thing. Some people like to keep it wrapped up in cloth and only taken out when it's time. Some people have them out all the time. I mean, you can see them in stores, so it's not like it has to be hidden. But that's how I like mine. And actually, I made mine. There's many YouTube videos on how to make a black mirror. Pretty much, I just got a glass picture frame, and I painted on both sides the glass black, and it works. It's a great black mirror. So that is how the black mirror is used and why it's popular. It's so popular you can find it at Home Depot for $5.99. No, I'm just saying, like, it's commonly used, and that's a great tool. So another tool that's used in the left-hand path is a fetish. And when I first heard the term, I didn't understand. We were to obtain a fetish, and it's an old term for a skull. And before you start, dialing 911, in the old days, people did use skulls, and some people do in other parts of the world. That's part of their practice. Some left-hand path on the Middle Eastern side, in India, you'll see them drinking out of skulls. But for practices in the left-hand path, you can find skulls on Amazon for a very decent price. And I'm not talking about a real skull, but a skull that looks pretty dang real. And the whole intention behind it is to it's a connection to the underworld, or the Sitarahra, or the Cliffoth, or the realm of where the energies reside. And the whole purpose of a rite of awakening a fetish is to put that, same as like with projecting or imbuing a ring, a necklace, you are putting the intention and energy into the fetish to be a doorway to the spirit world. So that, and how I was instructed is you keep it wrapped up at all times until you want to use it, because it is a open doorway to a spirit world So as the fetish is like as I was saying, a doorway to the spirit world, it connects to the deities that you call to in that spirit world. So it's like a way to communicate to deities in the spirit world. So like when it's using as a tool, a focal point also. It's like you're talking to somebody. You're talking to that spirit within the skull. So it's like when you call to a deity such as a Hecate or Lucifer or even depending on the deities you work with, or like Shiva, or different currents of energy, they can utilize that skull as a means to communicate to you. And how I won't go into how they communicate because it's very intuitive, it's very personal, and how auditory, how there's many terms behind it. It's like a knowing of words that comes through you, and that's why another tool to have in the left-hand path is a journal, because as these words come through and as you write them down like a scribe, you soon have a picture of words. And I say a picture of words because words can create a tapestry. They can paint a picture of what you need to learn. And so that's why so that's why it's good to have a journal when you do any type of work with the fetish, as well as working with sigils, because you'll receive messages and often you'll need to write them down quick because sometimes they come and they go, so things like that. And so the fetish is one of the tools, and then other tools often commonly found are like candles. That's same in like all traditions is candles use, not just for light, but they have symbology. You can use candles for different purposes. Different intentions, having different colors representing these currents of energy. And so that's used in the left-hand path as well. Incense burners, like far as in the Temple of Ascending Flame, which is where I learned quite a bit about this left-hand path tools. I bought this burner not too long ago. It's one of those you put the cone on the top and the smoke comes down here, and it's the dragon's breath. But dragon's blood, it's an amazing smelling incense and very potent, and often commonly used on the left-hand path just for its connection to the dragon. Not just in term, but when we think of dragon's blood, what do you think of? You think of a dragon. So, and the often primordial energies are often called draconic. And primordial is in many ways like the building blocks of things that are within. The underlining elements of creation, the primordial essence of what exists, and bringing, often it's been forgotten because we're worried about what's, the next iPhone, or we're worried about our own creations, that we forget about the divine creations that surround us. And that's why going out in nature is so healing, because we're reconnecting to that primordial essence. But that's a topic for another time. But in the sense of dragons and draconic energy as primordial, the lava of the earth, the lifeblood of the earth. That's why dragon's blood is common, at least in my perceptions on it. All of this is part of my perceptions, as well as what I was taught, and I wanted to share. And I did want to touch on some other topics. So often in magic and whatnot, when blood is involved, people think the more blood you give, the more powerful the ritual, and it's not true. It's not true at all. It's about that's why you only need a pinprick of blood to really connect, and it's kind of like a building of trust, that you're offering a piece of yourself to build a relationship with that current of energy. So it's it comes down. It's very interesting because it very ties in with my views on shamanism, how there's so much relationship building, and a lot of the primordial currents and deities of the underworld are not as, they're very kind and they can be very kind, they can be very noble, they can be very educational and instructive, but it is tough love. It is all tough love, meaning they're not there to hold your hand, they're not there to it's your path, it's your purpose, and they'll constantly remind you, this is your road, this is your life, this is your divine path, and it's your will to choose how you live in that path, and it's your will to choose how to honor what's given to you and what's honor all around you, or to not honor it all and disrespect it all. And that those two are the weights on the scale. So working with building these relationships, working with these deities, you don't have to slice open your hand and squirt blood everywhere to make it right. Just this little pinprick. Please, for your own safety and for the safety of everyone. And so it's an important thing, that part of it. Another tool that I was going to present, but I just learned today that it's a hazard safety. So they do sell on many online stores. It's a indoor fire burner. Basically, if you can't have a bonfire outside or a fire pit, this is an indoor fire pit. And what you would use is rubbing alcohol in here to create the flame, and it works very well. It would shoot way up to here. I mean, I had it on the ground and it was pretty much up to my head. So obviously someone put something else in here or did something that was unsafe, because I got an email actually today to not use this anymore. So they have tools like this where you can burn things inside, but do check for safety, for if they are safe to have in your house, or if you do use them, keep furniture away, keep your cats and dogs away, keep your kids away, keep people a little bit further away, because it does burn and it works very well. And then having a cauldron, I mean, this is very much like Wicca, witchcraft, whatnot, but having a cauldron is important too, because often one of the rites, like some of the rites in the temple of Ascending Flame and other groups, is you will write down sigil, write down an intention on paper, then anoint it with your blood, and then you will light it on fire, and then like at the end of the rite you would burn the paper, and then you would spread the ashes out onto the earth, excuse me, or spread the ashes like in a safe place. And generally you'd want to do it on the earth just because it's kind of grounds it. But also having a cauldron is very helpful, because if you don't want to set off the smoke alarms, if you're indoors, often you can do it on a small piece of paper. You light it on fire, throw it in the cauldron, put the top of the cauldron, like the lid of the cauldron, on it. That'll kind of keep the smoke in there. And then once you're done, you can walk outside and let the smoke rise and dump the ashes. So that's a very useful tool, especially in apartments, places that don't like smoke, don't like you doing stuff like that, or in buildings that are so old that any type of fire could go and cause the place to burn down. You don't want that to happen either. And so things like that. Tools are very similar to the right-hand path. And I mean, many left-hand pathers will use tarot cards. And if they're into Jewish mysticism, or that ties in with the Qliphoth or the Sephiroth, they'll tie in how the major arcana will represent the spheres, and then the other cards of the deck will represent the tunnels, and they represent the different tunnels of the Qliphoth and Sephiroth. And so those I'm kind of dishing out seeds right now if you're interested in looking into more of that. But that's how some will use the tarot cards. And then also tarot cards are a great way to reflect and pull from the unconscious of what's going on in your world. And that's how runes are used. And some will use bones, and those are... I've even met a guy once in Las Vegas where he did a tea leaf reading, and it was amazing. It was so accurate of where I was at my point in life and some of the choices I had to make. And he got that from a tea leaves in a cup. And I don't know, but it's like it's a inner door to that collective consciousness that Carl Jung talked about as flowing all around us. And that's its own topic as well. But tea leaf readings, now I'm kind of veering off left-hand path, but those are some of the main tools that I've discovered working with different groups and kind of learning more. So I'm sure there's going to be more if you are on the left-hand path and you know of more tools. Could you throw them in the chat below? I'm curious to find out what else everyone is using, because tools are great ways to help you navigate things you're coming into contact with, things you're writing, things you're understanding and integrating, and new perceptions that you're awakening. And that's why music is a great outlet for that. For many years, I had this belief that, and I still do, but it was more prominent then because I was very active using it. And it was basically like a bardic craft, and I've talked about this in my other videos, but using the rhythm of playing guitar to open the keys to the spirit world or the collective consciousness, to bring in energies and currents of gnosis, which is knowledge and information, and then through my vocal sharing it through song. And some people call it improv, but this is a spiritual improv because I'm tapping into the unconscious, but I'm also tapping into the collective consciousness, which in the old Celtic tales they would talk about the Bardic River, the imbus, or the wisdom of the river, and being able to have that river flow through you to where you can tap into that wisdom and then share it through song. It's a bardic craft. And sometimes when you take in energies and you're trying to integrate, sometimes playing it out, getting those words to flow out, will help you understand what's happening. And that happened on many occasions when I was a firekeeper at USNT. It was a Native American church in Texas, and I had the opportunity to play guitar during multiple ceremonies. They were ayahuasca ceremonies, and I had many experiences where I couldn't integrate what the plant medicine was teaching me until I started playing. And then as it flowed out, I started to understand what I needed to learn. And I know that sounds a little weird. You're like, wait, you didn't know what you needed to learn, but then you said it. It's almost like it could be considered like a possession, but it's not a possession. It's an awakening of that current, and it's flowing through you like Reiki energy, and it's allowing you to share that with the world. It's a beautiful thing. So using tools like music to in the left-hand path can be very helpful, because this is all about learning of the self, learning about individuation. Some people take it for getting things or power, but when it comes down to it, deities of the underworld, like you would think, they let's make a deal, like that show on TV. And when it really comes down to it, the ones that really, it is about making deals, but it's more about making deals on how to earn it yourself. Those that want things for free and don't want to do the work often are the ones that end up having a hard time. And it comes down to the approach of the left-hand path, how you approach it, with how you have respect for yourself and those energies and currents you're working with, how you, if you approach them like calling to them and then coming out with guns blazing, you're not going to have a really good experience, because they will approach you the same exact way. And it's kind of like it's any type of relationship. It's a mutual respect. And if you're in service to yourself and in the work where you're in service to learning, growing, becoming better at what you need to do to work through your goals, they will help you like like your teachers. They will become teachers. But if you approach them with arrogance and expectation, like everything is, should be given to you freely with no work at all for yourself, and that you are, deserving, that, and it's often you'll have trials and lessons to teach you to be humble, to teach you to be honorable, to teach you to be respectful, to teach you to be honorable, humble, and respectful to yourself, so that you can obtain what you need, obtain what you want, and honor those desires and honor those goals, but in a means like a king or queen, rather than someone winning the lottery when they didn't really work for it. They just bought a ticket. Now, they might have worked hard to get the money to buy the ticket, but you understand what I'm saying. It's like, so with all that said, these are the tools on the left-hand path. I wanted to share that with you. This is the ending of the 4-part series. If you've enjoyed these videos, please hit like and subscribe. If you want to hear more on the occult, again, hit like and subscribe. It does help me, with, I'm not monetized, but it lets me know that people want to hear, they want to know. And I want to share it because I want to honor my teachers. I want to share it because I want to honor myself. I want to share it because I want to honor the information, the gnosis, and remind people that divine energy flows through all things. Divine energy flows through all of us. And divine is everything around us. Intention and lack of will or misuse of will often turns to evil, and that is the misunderstanding of self, not being authentic to the self, or not understanding that you have the ability to create and make action, and action is power. So with that said, I hope you have a good night, and until next time.